The entire history of Egypt. For millennia, the grand pyramids of Egypt have towered over the desert sands. Everything about the great ancient civilization that once ruled these lands remained a mystery. That is, until July 19, 1799. During Napoleon Bonaparte's Egyptian expedition, a French soldier discovered a large stone about 35 miles east of Alexandria. This discovery unearthed a written language that had been dead for thousands of years. The translations would prove to be the key to unlocking the secrets of an entire civilization. Egypt is often described as the gift of the Nile, a sentiment echoed by Herodotus, the father of history. The Nile, with its life-giving waters, provided Egypt with the means to cultivate crops and foster civilization along its fertile valley. Dividing the Egyptian territory into Upper and Lower Egypt, the river strip created a favorable environment for the rise of this ancient civilization. Over the centuries, annual floods deposited fertile soil along its banks, marking the beginning of Egypt's agricultural calendar and establishing one of the world's earliest agricultural communities. Ancient Egypt was divided into two main regions: Lower Egypt to the north, where the Nile Delta spread its branches, and Upper Egypt to the south, stretching towards Aswan. These regions were united around 3000 BC by King Narmer, though each retained its distinctive crown, the white crown of Upper Egypt and the red crown of Lower Egypt. This dual kingship symbolized their unified rule over the two lands. Pre-dynastic Egypt witnessed the emergence of cultural periods preceding documented history, spanning from around 6000 to 3150 BCE. Archaeological excavations in Egypt have unearthed artifacts that tell the tale of cultural development in the Nile River Valley during this period. The pre-dynastic period is characterized by regional cultures, such as the Badarian, Naqada, and Gurzean cultures, which evolved from hunter-gatherer societies into more settled communities practicing agriculture and domesticating animals. The Fayum Oasis, located southeast of the Giza Plateau, was home to the Fayum culture between 9000 and 6000 BCE. These early inhabitants lived around a large lake, sustaining themselves through agriculture, hunting, and fishing. They built reed homes with subterranean food storage and developed pottery and basketry skills. Over time, tribal chieftains emerged, overseeing the transition from small nomadic groups to larger settled communities. The cultural developments continued with the emergence of the Merimde culture around 5000 to 4000 BCE in the western Nile Delta. Agriculture remained central to Egyptian life, with crops like wheat, barley, and flax being cultivated alongside herding practices. This period also saw advancements in architecture, as evidenced by the transition from simple reed structures to more complex homes with plastered mud walls. Egyptian society evolved further with establishment of the Badarian culture, known for its distinctive pottery and advancements in agriculture, around 4400 to 4000 BCE. This culture laid the foundation for subsequent cultural developments in Lower Egypt, setting the stage for the Amratian Naqada I and Gurzean Naqada II-III periods. The Amratian period, also known as Naqada I, marked a significant shift towards more complex social structures and advancements in material culture. It was during this period that early forms of Egyptian writing began to emerge, primarily in the form of inscriptions and seal impressions. The development of hierarchical societies and the growth of regional centers like Hierakonpolis and Abydos laid the groundwork for the later unification of Egypt under a centralized monarchy. The early dynastic period, 3150–2613 BCE, marks the beginning of Egypt's historical era, characterized by the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt under a centralized authority. This period saw the rise of Egypt's first dynasties, with Menes or Narmer traditionally credited as the first king to unify the two kingdoms around 3100 BCE. Menes established Memphis as the capital, and initiated a period of political stability and cultural flourishing known as the Old Kingdom. Menes's successors, such as Horoha and Djer, continued to consolidate power and expand Egypt's influence through military campaigns and trade relations. They fostered the development of a distinct Egyptian culture, including monumental architecture and the establishment of administrative institutions to govern the unified kingdom. The Old Kingdom, also known as the Age of the Pyramids, flourished during the 4th to 6th dynasties, 2613 to 181 BCE. It was a time of unprecedented architectural achievements, epitomized by the construction of the Great Pyramids of Giza under the reigns of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. These monumental structures served as royal tombs and symbols of the pharaoh's divine authority and eternal life. The construction of the pyramids required meticulous planning and organization, reflecting the centralized authority of the pharaohs and the administrative prowess of the Egyptian state. The pyramids, along with their associated mortuary complexes and funerary rituals, underscored the Egyptians' deep religious beliefs in the afterlife and the divine nature of kingship. Khufu, also known as Cheops, is best known for commissioning the Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. His reign marked a period of great prosperity and cultural achievement, evidenced by extensive trade networks and monumental construction projects. Despite ancient Greek narratives portraying him as a tyrant, Khufu's legacy endures through the enduring marvels of Egyptian architecture and the cultural legacy of the Old Kingdom. The construction methods of the Great Pyramid of Giza have long puzzled historians. There's ongoing debate about whether external ramps were used to move blocks into place, despite mounting evidence suggesting the ancient Egyptians employed sophisticated yet familiar techniques, which they likely considered too routine to document extensively. The intricate interior passages, shafts, and chambers, alongside structures like the nearby Osiris shaft, fuel persistent fringe theories about the pyramid's construction. Questions also linger about its alignment with cardinal points. Hemiunu, a prominent figure during Khufu's reign in the 4th dynasty, served as the vizier and oversaw the construction of the Great Pyramid. He was buried near Khufu's pyramid. The pyramid's construction involved both skilled and unskilled laborers, organized by the state. These laborers either worked to pay off debts, performed community service, or were paid wages. The annual Nile River inundation was crucial for Egyptian agriculture, though it necessitated alternative work for farmers, such as constructing monumental structures. Khufu was succeeded by his son Djedefre, though controversy remains over who built the Great Sphinx of Giza Djedefre, his sibling Khafre, or Khufu himself. The Sphinx, a colossal monolithic monument, depicts a lion's body with a human head, historically associated with Khafre, but some argue for Khufu. Its alignment with Khafre's pyramid complex and facial features resembling Khafre support the attribution to him. Khafre's pyramid, second largest at Giza, and its vast complex, while grand, reveal little about his rule, which largely continued his father's governance model. Menkaure, Khafre's successor, initiated construction on his own pyramid and shrine complex, albeit smaller than his predecessors, marking a significant period of the Old Kingdom's decline. Resource shortages hindered his efforts, worsened by his successor's premature death during construction. Despite Menkaure's 30-year reign, he couldn't finish his predecessor's ambitious works, eventually completed by Hatshepsut. Temples and sanctuaries gained prominence under priestly authority during this period, overshadowing royal control. Civilian life in ancient Egypt thrived with active participation in agriculture, crafts, and monument building. Peasant farmers formed the lowest social class, often tending land they didn't own. The monarchy, court officials, and priests owned land, setting the economic tone. Peasants contributed to monumental construction alongside their agricultural duties, contrary to claims of slave labor. Skilled artisans like painters and carpenters found upward mobility, enhancing their social status through their craft. Beer, a staple in ancient Egyptian culture, enjoyed widespread popularity, with workers receiving rations 3 times daily. Marriages were primarily secular, arranged by parents across all social strata, often cementing political alliances. Beyond labor, Egyptians engaged in sports like hockey, handball, and water jousting, alongside festivals characterized by feasting and drinking. The diet centered on grains and vegetables, with meat reserved for royalty due to its expense. The Old Kingdom's 4th dynasty ended with Hatshepsut's brief reign, marking the start of the 5th dynasty under Menkaure-Kayu. Political power decentralized, with local nomarchs assuming control. This trend continued into the 6th dynasty, culminating in the First Intermediate Period. The era saw diminished central authority and the rise of regional administrators, leading to a shift in political and social structures. The First Intermediate Period heralded an era of provincial autonomy, contrasting with the centralized authority of the Old Kingdom. The decline in monumental construction symbolized the fractured governance and cultural transition. Regional administrators in Heracleopolis and Thebes laid claim to royal authority, initiating the 11th dynasty under Intef the Elder. His successors united Egypt, commencing the prosperous Middle Kingdom under Mentuhotep II, whose military campaigns and infrastructural developments restored national unity and economic vigor. The Middle Kingdom emphasized centralized governance under strong monarchs like Senusret III, who expanded Egyptian borders into Nubia and Palestine, fortifying Egypt's economic and military power. Innovative irrigation systems and administrative reforms supported economic growth. The Middle Kingdom's stability contrasted sharply with the preceding periods, marking an era of cultural and political revival. During the reign of King Amenemhat III in the 12th dynasty, following Sinneret III, there was a strategic focus on harnessing floodwaters for irrigation and protecting against destructive inundations. Early November marked preparations for planting seasons, including field preparation, irrigation maintenance, and property assessments. Detailed tomb paintings illustrate ancient Egyptian agriculture, showcasing various crops like amer wheat for bread and beer, grapes for wine, dates, figs, and papyrus used for scrolls and other materials. Farmers employed tools such as the shaduf, a pole-operated device for water lifting, and ancient Egyptians, known for their meticulous documentation, also detailed the processes of erecting buildings and moving colossal statues. Tomb scenes from officials like Jahun Act depict techniques for transporting large monuments, underscoring their engineering prowess despite limited technology. Amenemhat III, known for monumental constructions like the labyrinth at Hawara, focused on infrastructure and monumental projects over military conquests. His successors, like Amenemhat IV, continued these policies, fostering trade and expanding influence, although the dynasty faced challenges like succession issues after Sobonefru's rule. The transition to the 13th dynasty saw continuity in policies, but lacked the central authority of earlier periods. This period witnessed the rise of Semitic people known as the Hyksos in Avaris, who eventually seized power, challenging Egyptian rule. The Hyksos, likely originating from Asia, dominated Lower Egypt during this Second Intermediate Period, eventually causing political fragmentation and weakening Egyptian influence in Nubia. The 18th dynasty, initiated by Ahmose I, marked a resurgence the new kingdom, ushering in unprecedented prosperity and military success. Ahmose I expelled the Hyksos and established a professional army, setting the stage for Egypt's expansion and dominance in the region. His successors, like Amenhotep I and Thutmose I, continued to expand Egypt's borders, with Thutmose III achieving notable conquests across the Levant and into Mesopotamia. Amenhotep III's reign epitomized Egypt's zenith, focusing on artistic and architectural achievements while maintaining stability and expanding diplomatic ties. His son, Akhenaten, brought about religious reforms, promoting the worship of Aten over traditional deities, a period known as the Amarna period. Tutankhamun, his successor, restored traditional beliefs, while Ramses II's rule defined the 19th dynasty with his military campaigns and iconic monuments. Ramses III faced challenges from the Sea Peoples, whom he decisively defeated, yet internal strife and economic pressures contributed to the decline of the new kingdom. Subsequent rulers struggled to maintain stability amidst priestly influence and external threats, culminating in the decline of centralized authority and the fragmentation of Egypt. The later Ramesside rulers, while attempting to revive Egypt's former glory, faced continuous challenges from outside invaders and internal power struggles, leading to the eventual decline of the Egyptian empire. The era left a lasting legacy of monumental architecture, cultural achievements, and the enduring mystique of ancient Egypt in history. The grandeur of Egypt's past is being revived through extensive projects of renovation, restoration, and military feats. Necho II, 610 to 595 BCE, continuing his father's legacy, bolstered Egypt with military campaigns, construction projects, and military expansions. Recognizing Egypt's limitations at sea, he established a successful fleet of Greek mercenaries. Necho II is celebrated as a formidable warrior and leader who fortified Egypt, reformed governance, stimulated the economy, and orchestrated successful military operations. Under his rule, Egypt flourished with a robust economy, secure borders, and thriving commerce. Monumental building projects, temples, and artistic achievements restored Egypt's prestige. His successor, Psamtik III 526 BCE, was young and inexperienced, facing challenges including a diplomatic incident with the Persian monarch Cambyses II. Cambyses II, seeking a royal bride from Egypt, received a priest's daughter instead of a noblewoman, sparking a political rift and paving the way for subsequent conflicts. During the late period, Darius I of Persia, 522 BCE, governed Egypt with a benevolent hand, admiring Egyptian culture and directing resources towards temple reconstructions. Despite Persian rule, Egypt retained its cultural identity through the 27th to 31st dynasties. The 30th dynasty, led by figures like Amertius and Nectanebo I and II, briefly restored Egypt's former glory before succumbing once more to Persian conquest. Despite foreign dominion, Egyptian culture persevered, evidenced by cultural resistance and significant achievements under Persian suzerainty. The 30th dynasty's pharaohs upheld Egypt's heritage, leaving behind enduring structures that echoed the greatness of their predecessors. While the late period marked the decline of Egyptian sovereignty, it did not extinguish Egyptian civilization. Modern Egypt resonates with echoes of its ancient past, from traditional festivals and cuisine rooted in ancient traditions to the continued use of Coptic, a vestige of Egypt's ancient language in churches. Contemporary Egypt's pride in its legacy is evident in recent events such as the grand parades in Cairo and the ongoing excavations that promise discoveries akin to the tomb of Tutankhamun. In the 21st century, Egypt continues to evolve, building new cities, enhancing infrastructure, and pursuing archaeological treasures buried beneath its sands. This ancient land remains an enigmatic treasure trove, enchanting people worldwide with its magic and storied history. We have noticed many of you watch our videos and leave without liking, commenting, and even subscribing to our channel. Kindly comment as it helps us know how to improve on the next video, and when you like and subscribe, it motivates us to work more for you. Thank you.